Meantime, it was another tough day on Wall Street as stocks tumbled once again. The Dow Jones Industrial closed in the red again, down more than 1,000 points today, wiping out a big chunk of the progress that was made in the stock market yesterday. This comes as investors fear that even with the short pause on many of Trump's tariffs, the decision to single out China will still have detrimental impacts on the global market. With a trade war fueled by tariffs, state data shows how it may impact imports coming into Oregon. Fox 12 investigative reporter Adrian Thomas is in studio to break it all down.
Right now, there is a 10% tariff on all imports into the U.S. That follows President Trump's 90-day pause on larger tariffs imposed on specific countries, but not on China. The president increased tariffs on all Chinese imports to 145%. China ranks at the top of imports directly into Oregon, right behind Japan, Taiwan, and Canada, according to state data. The same data also shows Oregon's largest foreign imports include computer and electronic products, cars, and other transportation equipment and machinery, with a notable increase in apparel imports from 2023 to 2024. Now, what's important to keep in mind are those new 145% tariffs currently on China. The most recent state data shows that the import value of Chinese goods was just under $2.7 billion in Oregon in 2024. If we were to take the new tariffs on Chinese goods and apply that to 2024 numbers, that means there would be an additional $3.9 billion cost added just for importing those goods, if Chinese imports continue at the same trend. Now, those tariffs are paid for by the companies that import those goods, which some economists say can ultimately lead to higher prices for consumers. Business Oregon, the state's economic development agency, has announced it's increasing subsidies and grant programs for Oregon companies that engage in global trade. We'll have a link to that information on the Fox 12 app. In studio, Adrian Thomas, Fox 12 Oregon.